Hi, it's Kathy from Raven Vintage. Welcome back to my craft room. Come on in. I saved you a spot, and welcome back to 100 ways to use scraps. Today we are going to work on project number 51, which is a painted background. So I have chosen some of my scraps. I fussy cut these birds out of was one of my songbirds scraps. I have a couple pieces of tea-dyed paper I ripped. I have this piece of ephemera that I have yet to trim up, and then I grabbed some of those wallpaper strips. So I'm looking at the colors I have, and I kind of like this set right here, I think, to complement my, I think that's what I want to do. So this is what I'm using. So I've picked, let me just get rid of the other strips so I don't throw you off on my colors. You're going to feel so smart after you do this. Now, please, I am not a color theory expert. I am not an artist. My sister can, you can say, oh, I want to make this color. And she'd say, oh, mix this and that and add a little more of this and this and that. And she can come up with that color. As an artist, that's her. She's very good at that. Now, this is not my thing. I just kind of know the basics, you know, like red and green make brown, you know, that kind of thing. So blue and yellow make green. I only know a few things. So this is the color I'm kind of working with here. And I want something not exactly the same, but I want something similar to go with this business right here. That's my color palette. So I'm going to pick two main colors from this for my paints. Now, I don't have a lot of paints, is the problem. So I'm kind of going with a blue and a yellow. I kind of want to highlight this bird yellow. So yeah, I think I'll stick with my blue and yellow, which is going to make, together they make green, which is great. I'm happy with that. So let's see what I'm talking about. So I'm using my glue book. I'm just using, just pick a spot where there's nothing on either side. If it probably won't bleed through, but just if you're, depending on the thickness of your paper. So like I said, you're going to feel so smart after you do this. So we're going to pick those two colors. So for example, I did one before, didn't turn out so great, but I had, this was my scrap, so I had the red and green, so I picked these two colors. It looked great, except I didn't have a very good focal point for that one. But that's the idea, is just pick a couple of colors. I'm just using acrylic paint and a very small background here, so we don't need a lot of paint. So I'm just going to grab a little bit here. Probably all I'll need. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put a little, just a dot in the middle. And you'll see why in a second. And then my blue, I don't know how good this is. My paints are so old. If I had have known they were so terrible, this is why I've started again, I would have gone and bought more paints. But my granddaughter uses these. That, and then just a little bit in the center. Small amount, real small amount. Okay, so what we're going to do, these are going to be our two colors that we're going to paint with, but our background. So what color do you paint the background? So to make sure you have a decent background color, what you do is you take the two colors you're going to use, this is a pretty crappy brush, and mix those together. So we're going to get some sort of a greeny brown, olive brown, whatever that is. So this now is what I'm going to consider my tint. And then I'm going to take basic white and add a bunch of white to that, so that I have like a off-white background with a tint using the two colors that I'm going to paint the blocks with. I don't know if it's technically color blocking that we're going to do. I've heard that term before. I just don't know technically what that is. But so let's just mix this together. I should be using a palette knife, not a brush, but maybe that's the reason why my brushes are in the shape they are. But now I have this lovely off-white color that is the right hues, tones, whatever you want to call it, to complement this. That's how you get a good background color. So I've got my mixed color for my background, and I'm just going to use a larger brush just to make this go faster and paint my background. Now you would probably do a couple of coats and let it dry in between, because with such a light color the text is going to show through here, but that's okay too, right? But once that's dry, you'll be able to see that text a little bit, so a second coat might be the right thing to do here. Perhaps let it dry and do a second coat. I'll leave that up to you. But that's our background color. And keep in mind, some of that's going to show through. So you'll notice I didn't go right to the edge because I'll probably end up trimming this down somewhat to fit into my book of inspiration or my journal. Okay, so using these, I've got the strips tore up, so let's just do a mock layout of how we would like to see. I thought I wanted to use this, but I think it's going to cover up too much of what we're going for here. So I think I want a little bit of the birds highlighted. Let's remove some of this center. Going this way. This way. I'm not sure that I'll use all of it, but let's see. So if I were to do some sort of a mock layout here where I have something like this, like that, it kind of goes like this. Maybe some more down here. Want some sort of a solid next to the birds, just because they're will show up a little better. And then this, like that, I kind of just like that. And maybe I don't need these, because keep in mind, we're going to have a little bit of paint that we're going to use as well. So what color is going to look really nice behind those birds? I think the yellow, and I think my blue is a little bit blue, but I might tone my blue down a little bit. I kind of like that right there. So if I were to paint some color blocks around this, that's the size, and I'm holding this beside it, so I want to look at my color blocks. So let's see here. So let's take this yellow. These colors might be a little bit vibrant for what we're doing here, but you know what? I need you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I might do just kind of a large yellow block. Oh, got some dry in there. A large yellow color block here. It's mixing with the background because it's still wet. It was not the intention. And then I might repeat some of that down here, opposite corner, and then maybe just a little bit right here. Okay, and then the blue. I'm going to do a similar kind of block thing, just a little bit here, maybe a little bit like that. Just some color blocking. I don't know what else to call it. I do something just like that, just a little bit of color. Now it's really hard to get something vintage looking with these colors, but let's see. Let's say that was like this. And maybe like that. This. And I've got my birds like here. Something like that. And oops. Kind of something like that. That's what I'm going for. You can tell that my colors, my blue and yellow, right track, but they're just not vintagey looking enough. So let's soften those a little bit. Now, as long as we stick with these colors and our center here, we should be okay. So I'm going to mix some of my blue with this center color, and I'm going to soften this a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see. Much better with the softer colors, right? It's hard with vintage images to, but you may be using some brighter scrapbook paper or something, so. Okay, now I'm going to do the same with the yellow. Hopefully I have enough paint here. That looks like it. And just soften that yellow up onto something usable. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Don't look at my paintbrush. Much nicer colors. So if, like I said, if I had the right paints, I could probably demonstrate this much nicer for you, but I do not. Hopefully you do. But you could take, you know, without having to buy a whole bunch of paints, get yourself a white and get extra white, and then figure out what scrap or focal point you're going to use and just buy those two colors. Like at the dollar store. That would work, right? There, that's much softer. I like that. Just a second. Oh, my chickens are back. Hello, ladies. The neighborhood chickens are out and about because of the nicer weather, and they are making brave enough to cross the road now, so they show up quite frequently. Okay, so we softened those colors up a bit. Let's see here. Let's use less of this, and hopefully we can get a little bit more of that background showing. That's much better, isn't it? Okay. I'm just going to start gluing these down. Now you could use, I don't know which one of my glue sticks are working here. You could use Mod Podge. I don't know if that's a good one or not, since you have your paintbrushes out. But I'm worried about smearing everything because it's not quite dry. So I'm going to lay that bit down. And then I'll practice, see where that's going to land. Oh, that's so pretty. And I just want a little bit around my birds here. So I don't need all of this. Well, let's see. Something like this. So I'm going to lay that down. I'm not going to press it all down because I still want to tuck probably some of this color in behind, right? I just want to bring a little bit of this up here. Yep. So we're sticking with a really simple color palette. So it's not too busy, it's not too crazy. And then where I have these extra more colorful bits, there's really tiny pieces. Just really tiny pieces. Okay, that's looking wonderful. It's a little bit more like that, I guess. I think that's how they should be. Okay, and then a little bit of this under them like that, I think. So again, don't put it right down yet just because we're not quite sure where we're going with it. This is good. And then I want a little bit of this color beneath. And see this, it says Birds of the United States. Let's see if I can rip that just so. Okay, so this says nests and eggs. Love it. All right, so we'll tuck this underneath like that. So I like just the 3. I like that we can see the background here and there. And then this could be like just, I don't even know if I want to use that or not. I think that's enough. Let's ink this guy up a bit. So I didn't end up using that border at all. It was going to be just too much. So it doesn't take a lot, but if you have some really beautiful scraps you want to use, but it's not enough to do a whole lot of anything with just those little bits, we can extend their life or extend the use of them by pulling colors out of it and you know, just kind of making up a background for it that is going to work. Like that. There, I think that's really pretty. Okay, so I will come in with my precision bottle here and get any of these little bits. Okay, now here's a couple things you can do to add to this. You can add some sort of sentiment down here. This is, let me see if I can trim this up nicely and see if we can use it. You can come in with your black felt marker. You can come in with your watercolor pencils and add some shading around it. So that's kind of nice down there. I like that. But what I want to maybe do something like this. Yes. I think I'd like to do something like that with it. You could get the right color of marker and come around with, you know, things. But you see there's one more color here. You see this kind of pinky orange coral color? We could do the 3-dot system here. Let me just grab, I think we'll do it with black though, just a second. You could pull that color, but I am going to use, I hope this works. Let's see. Get rid of my mess. Let me get rid of my mess. Okay. So again, using the rule of 3s, you can do some things like 3 dots. Okay. You can do 3 little kind of, I don't know what these would be, petals. You can do squiggle lines. You can do hashes like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start easy. So I think I might go make these kind of, like I said, I am not the doodle artist that some people are. But stick to threes. You're going to be so tired of me saying that, but you know what? You won't even think about it anymore. You'll just automatically do things in threes. Okay, so that's a little something there. So let's mirror it down here. Now I'm going to do it right on the paint. Maybe make the middle one a little bigger. Okay, so I've got kind of that balance going there. Something else you can do is the 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. It just adds a little something something to your page. And we'll go up here. 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, it's probably enough, but we could do maybe one more thing. Where could we balance things out? Okay, let's go very faint lines. 1, small, small. There. And then we'll mirror that, maybe too close. Down here. No, I think opposite is good. So let's go small, long, small. Like that. So it just adds enough. Now, if you wanted to, you could do the, I don't know how you people do that with the lazy whatever thing around it. That's not me, and I know it's not me. So what I'm going to do is tear this out of my book. Some nice tears going there automatically. And then I'm just going to do some soft rips around the edges. Your background doesn't clash. It's not too white, not too brown, whatever. So just, and your little, some people like, also you can marker around your blocks to make them more obvious. It's a thought. And where's my book? That's really pretty. That's very pretty. How cute are you? So cute. Okay, let's get you down in our book. Yes, so I am going to have fun tonight because I have these paints out. I'm going to keep painting. I'm just going to probably paint a bunch of background pages just for fun because it's fun. I like getting the paints out. It's been a long time since I've had the paints out. There we go. That's number 51. I'll put it down here. Painted background. So we've mixed paint and paper and marker. So that's mixed media, technically. But yeah, very sweet design. And this is page number 51. I have to finish numbering my pages now and keep going. All right, well, I look forward to, I'm going to clean up most of this, and then I'm just going to have a play. I'm just going to paint. All right, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.